I just found out that the shell of eggs is actually really dirty because it came out of like a chicken's butt. So like you touch the shell and then you like cook with the egg. It's gross. Hello homemakers, I'm Melinda and I'm cooking my way through Betty Crocker's 1971 recipe card library. And today we're making tuna ring with cheese sauce. All right, tuna ring with cheese sauce is card number 3 from section C, budget casseroles. I was a little surprised that this is considered a casserole because I really would think of it as an appetizer. But basically what we're working with is it is a ring of bread that has tuna and other things tucked into it and is cut in a way that you kind of pull it apart in strips and then like dunk the strip in cheese sauce. It's like an appetizer, right? Some people might be thrown off by the canned tuna, but I think it's going to be kind of like a tuna melt, you know? Bread, tuna, cheese, what could go wrong? Let's take a look at the ingredients. For the tuna ring, we will need 1 egg, 2 cans of tuna, half a cup of chopped onion, half a cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese, half a cup of snipped parsley, 1 teaspoon of celery salt. They didn't have celery salt at my grocery store, so I bought celery seed, which I read that you can kind of just grind with some salt, and you get celery salt. So we're gonna try that out. And then you also need 2 cups of Bisquick baking mix and a half a cup of cold water. All right, we are assembling the tuna ring. We have the oven preheated to 375, and we are going to beat an egg slightly. I have like a fear that the egg is bad, so I have to smell every egg before I use it. Okay, beat egg slightly. Set aside 2 tablespoons of the egg. Stir tuna, onion, cheese, parsley, celery, salt, and pepper into remaining egg. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put half the egg into the tuna and mix everything in my tuna bowl because it's the biggest bowl. I don't know if it's gotten better in modern recipes, but I feel like, particularly in these Betty Crocker recipes, there's not a lot of like, use a bowl this size. Like I would have said in a large bowl, beat an egg so that you know that all the other ingredients are going into that large bowl, but she did not do that. So I gotta make stuff up as I go. Now this leftover egg is to brush the tuna ring with before it goes in the oven. So we have tuna, we have egg, we are putting in onion, half a cup. I think this is a little more, so I'm just gonna eyeball about half a cup. Half a cup of parsley. Pretty good. Half a cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. These are big shreds, like Sorrento, calm down. Okay, I think that's half a cup. Measurement isn't my strong suit, as you've probably noticed. So we are stirring a bit to combine, and then we're gonna add celery, salt, and pepper. All right, so like I said, the grocery store didn't have celery salt, which I guess celery salt is mostly used in Bloody Marys. So I guess somebody was making a lot of Bloody Marys and bought it all. But I read online that you can make your own celery salt because it's basically just celery seeds and salt. So I have my tiny mortar and pestle, and I'm gonna do, it calls for a teaspoon. So I'm gonna do half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of celery seed. We'll see if this works. The internet recommended that I use a coffee grinder to do this, but I didn't really feel like dirtying my coffee grinder, and I had this cute little mortar and pestle, so I thought it would probably work just as well. Celery and salt. I just wanted to kind of make sure it's a teaspoon, and it is. Some black pepper. And we're stirring. we're combining. So the tuna ring is essentially a loaf of bread that we've kind of twisted this mixture into, and this cheddar cheese will hopefully melt and the bread will be really savory and delicious. Okay, now we're gonna make our bread for the tuna ring, which we're using Bisquick for. We need 2 cups of Bisquick baking mix. 1 cup. 2 cups. And ½ cup of cold water. This is warm. ½ cup of cold water. And now we're just gonna mix it until a dough forms, and then we're gonna knead the dough. Knead 5 times on a floured cloth-covered board. I'm not gonna cover this in a cloth, and I'm not gonna use flour, I'm gonna use more Bisquick. We are kneading it 5 times, whatever that means. So here's a little Betty history. Bisquick was invented in 1931, and what happened was a executive at General Mills was taking like a late night train ride, I think from like Portland to San Francisco, and he had a late dinner and they brought a hot, fresh biscuit to him. And he's like, how did this train chef make hot and fresh biscuits so late at night? Because back in that time, you couldn't really have shortening sitting out, and you couldn't really have a leavening agent sitting out in a mixed dough for long periods of time, so they weren't sure how he did it. So they figured it out, and General Mills chemists worked in the labs to come up with a new product called Bisquick, where you could make biscuits quickly. So General Mills came out with Bisquick, and of course this was a new product that nobody had heard of at the time, and so they enlisted our trusty Betty Crocker to help advertise for it. So she wrote a cookbook, like 101 delicious recipes using Bisquick, and plugged it on her radio show and in magazines. You know, it'd say Betty Crocker always cooks with Bisquick. And the secret to Bisquick is that you could go from box to oven in 90 seconds because the shortening was already mixed into the flour and the other ingredients. The hardest part about making biscuits is cutting the shortening into the flour. That always takes a long time. And so by putting shortening in the mix, you're able to do it really fast. So now I'm gonna roll into a rectangle about, what does it say? 10 to 15 inches. 10 by 15 inches. And the Betty Crocker advertisements for Bisquick back in the 30s, they said that it came in 2 sizes. A bride size made 40 biscuits, but a family size made 80 biscuits. So if you're a new bride cooking for your husband, those were the only options. You couldn't be a single woman making biscuits. Okay. Spread with tuna mixture. Okay. Here we go. Spread with tuna mixture. Do I just spread the whole thing like this? I think that's what you want to do. Once again, this is not very rectangular. I don't think we're going to get it very even. Roll up beginning at long side. Okay. We're rolling. We're rolling. We rolled it. He's a bit chunky in the middle. With the sealed edge down, correct. Shape into a ring on a greased baking sheet, pinching ends together. I'm not greasing my baking sheet, I'm using parchment paper. I hope it's the same. Let me swing this around. Okay. We're lifting. We're moving our tuna snake, and we're turning it into a ring. I feel a hole. The tuna has breached. Oh my God, can you see that? Do you see this tuna breach? Okay, this might sound crazy. I'm gonna take some off this end and patch it. Is that stupid? You know what I just realized? We're gonna cut into this. So it probably didn't matter that the tuna breached. Pinch ends together. Okay. I tried pinching them, but I think I need to overlap a little bit more. There's another breach happening over here. Okay, it doesn't matter. The breaches don't matter because we're cutting into it anyway. Got my trusty kitchen shears here. And it says, this is what I'm most nervous about with this whole project. With scissors, make cuts 2/3 of the way through the ring at 1-inch intervals. Turn each section on its side to show the filling. So I'm cutting it, and once we have like a fringe, we're gonna twist them. Here we go. Okay, the first cut, not too bad. My question is, do I keep cutting or do I cut and twist? Okay, now I'm twisting. I cut about half of them and then I started to get stressed. I think this is gonna look pretty cool. It's very satisfying to cut into this with a pair of scissors. Wow, snip, snap. I think it's gonna look pretty cool, right? I'm excited. Let's pop this in the oven. We can't pop it in the oven yet. I forgot about my egg. We gotta brush it with an egg. This is like half an egg that we had left over. The other half went into the tuna mixture. And this is so that we get like a nice golden crust. All right, now I'm gonna pop it in the oven. We are gonna check on him in 25 minutes. And in between that, we're gonna make the cheese sauce. So now we're making the cheese sauce. So I've got a 1/4 cup of butter in the pan that I'm going to melt. After that melts, we're going to mix in a 1/4 cup of Bisquick, some salt and pepper, and cook over low heat, stirring until smooth and bubbly. So we're basically making like a roux, but with Bisquick instead of flour, which is gonna create like a cream sauce once we add the milk. Okay, she's getting pretty thick and bubbly. Smooth and bubbly is what we want. And kind of browning, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. And we're gonna pour in 2 cups of milk. So that's 1 cup. I'm just stirring it, trying to get it to thicken. Now we're gonna bring the heat back up to boiling, stirring constantly. Once it's boiling, we'll stir in the cheese until melted. She's gorgeous! Oh my god! Wow! Okay, while I'm making the cheese sauce, I thought I'd move the tuna ring over to our little plating board. It's cooled down a little bit. I think I'm just gonna lift it. Is that crazy? Maybe I should use this. Maybe I should slide it now that it's loose. That's what I'm gonna do. Oh my gosh, she's beautiful. Okay. All right, so the last step is to stir in the cheese, and it calls for a cup of shredded cheddar cheese or a 1/2 cup of crumbled blue cheese, and I didn't see or, so I bought both. And I think it'd be nice to have both, right? So we're gonna mostly do cheddar, but a little bit of blue. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that in. Okay, so now I just wanna put this little cup in the center. I don't know how. I don't wanna, I think I'm just gonna shove it in. Sorry. She's still okay. Everything's fine. And I'm gonna fill it with cheese sauce. Ooh. Okay, here we go. So now I'm just garnishing with a little pimento cross, or X. And then the photo had like curly parsley, but I only have flat. But I'm just gonna shove a little flat parsley in here. There we go. We did it. I cannot wait to dig in. All right, I think we're ready to taste. She looks beautiful. I'm really impressed. Like, bringing this to a party, Are you kidding me? Okay, so you have to pull one of these like sections out and dip it in the cheese. Okay, okay. Where's the tuna? I guess it's like mostly focused in this area. All right, here we go. Dunk it in. Oh. Okay. You know, I don't see the tuna or feel the tuna as a texture in here, but it definitely like has permeated the bread and it tastes very tuna-y. The cheese sauce is like pretty standard. The blue cheese does give it a kick. I'm glad I added that. It's not super flavorful, but man, the bread is flavorful. I think it looks beautiful and it tastes really good. I'm happy with these results. Oh, okay. Hot. I'm impressed. This is good. Okay, tuna ring with cheese sauce. I was pretty impressed by this. It made a really beautiful dish that I would love to like bring to a party and share. The bread using the Bisquick was a little strange. It kind of broke apart as you tried to dip it in the cheese, and it was like a little too dense. So that I think was a bit odd, but overall I was really impressed. It had really good flavor and was really fun and different. So I might give it 5 out of 5 red spoons. Can you believe it? 5 out of 5. All right, back in the box. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, happy homemaking.